Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? So today we're going to be going over an overview of the anatomy of the endocrine system and where we can find the major glands involved. So the glands are in the brain, and then there are also some glands throughout the rest of the body that we'll talk about. Remember, there is a difference between exocrine and endocrine. Exocrine are releasing to the outside of the body. So if I threw the skin on here, exocrine would be releasing outside and usually contain ducts, whereas endocrine does not contain a duct. So starting out here, I want to start up with the brain. So the brain is where we begin what's called the HPG axis, or the hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axis. So everything begins up here for that release. So let's find the major parts of the endocrine system. Some of these we have talked about before, so just hiding the hemispheres and the insular cortex here, we now see the initial one, the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is what releasing hormones which travel down the infundibulum, or the pituitary stalk right here, and goes to what's called the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland has an anterior and posterior part, and it releases tons of hormones from each part. Now, one interesting thing I want to add here are the veins. Look where this is located. So if you remember, this is why I like to do the endocrine system after talking about the cardiovascular system, because remember this little sinus we have in the brain here is called the intercavernous sinus, and back here is the basilar plexus. So this gland, or the pituitary gland, releases a bunch of hormones, different types of hormones, into the blood. In the lecture, we talked about the differences between the anterior and posterior pituitary, so make sure you check that out. And if you notice, there's a bunch of veins right here to bring in those released hormones. So that's very, very important to get them to your system faster. And if we throw in the arteries here, we can look at them as well. As you can tell, this is a very vascularized region, which is very important in this process. Now, not shown in this model is the epithalamus, which is where we find the pineal gland. Remember, that releases melatonin, which is responsible for regulating something like your sleep-wake cycle. All right, so now we released a bunch of hormones from the pituitary gland, and then they go through the vascular system through the rest of the body. So let's check out the rest of the body. The next gland down here is right. So if we add the skeletal system in here, it's right on the front of your neck. It looks like a butterfly almost. This is called your thyroid gland. Now, if we remove the skeleton out, just wanted to show you where the location was here to give you an idea. Thyroid gland releases thyroid hormones, of course. Now, if we look just deep to the thyroid gland, we find these little spots back here. These are the parathyroid glands, which release parathyroid hormones. So if we hide this, we see 1, 2, 3, 4 little parathyroid glands. So let's unhide that in there. So those are some important glands. So those are the dorsal aspect of the thyroid gland. Now we're moving down through here, and we get to the next one, which I need to show the lymphatic. It didn't pop up in when I clicked endocrine over here, but this is another important gland. So if we add the skeletal system, right behind the sternum, right? So there's the manubrium of the sternum, there's the body of the sternum, so right deep to that. If we bring this back and then add the heart, it's also just inferior or superior to the heart as well. So just to give you a general idea of where this is found, so the thymus gland is responsible for T cell maturation, so it's an important gland involved in the immune system. So let's keep the heart there now. Just doesn't matter as we move down through. Let's also remove lymphatic system so we don't see the lymph nodes running up through here and getting in our way. The nervous system provides a good framework, and the skeletal system can hide a lot of this too. Okay, next one. So coming down through the vascular system, remember, if we have the veins here, the arteries and the veins, they'd be feeding into this, and then we can get to the renal glands or adrenal glands. So these ones here receive a bunch of the hormones from the pituitary gland, and they're located, so suprarenal glands are located on the superior side of the kidney. The two little glands. And remember, there's the adrenal cortex and the adrenal medulla, which is the middle, and all those different layers release different hormones. So make sure you review those hormones as well, which we talked about in the lecture portion. This is just showing you the overview of the anatomy of this region. So there, lots of hormones are released from those little glands right there. And then as we move down, we missed one up here in this region. We have to add digestive system to find this one. So let's hide the stomach, and then right back there it is, the pancreas. The pancreas is another important part of the endocrine system, so releasing things like insulin and a whole bunch of other hormones and enzymes involved in digestion, which we'll talk about more when we talk about the digestive system. All right, so let's remove the digestive system now, and then the last little bit then are the gonads. So difference between the male and the female gonads. Remember, males testes, and then if we change gender here and go to female, females have ovaries. Now, so these two things right here, the G and the HPG axis, or the gonads, hormones are also interacting there and released there, such as estrogen and testosterone, or male and female sex hormones. So those are just the major glands I wanted to mention here, just to show you where they are on the body and be able to, spin it around here and show you orientation and where they are within and around other organs, because it's important to understand that. I know this was a short little video going over it, so this was a short little lab per se, but this is what we would have done in the laboratory. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out and let me know. If not, I will see you all next time, and I hope you all have a great day, and bye-bye.